Hey there, it's Joan, and good morning, and welcome to the first of many daily series called Creativity Live. And what I want to do during the rest of the month of May is just hop on here at the same time. This is 9 a.m. Mountain Time, so whenever it is for you, and give you a quick intro to this book, The Artist's Way. And I am going to be teaching a not teaching a class, but leading a workshop where we work through this entire book. And so I thought it would be a good idea to just spend some time with you and share little bits and pieces out of the book, my experience with this book, and the power of creativity in general. So I'm going to leave a comment. Let's see, let me do that right now. I left a link there if you're interested in finding out more about signing up for the workshop series. But yeah, so The Artist's Way, I think one of the best ways to do this is to just read some of the cover and the back cover because it's pretty amazing. So The Artist's Way is a course in discovering and recovering your creative self. And the subtitle is A Spiritual Path to Higher Creativity. It's written by Julia Cameron, and this is the 25th anniversary edition. So this thing has been worked out. And so now I want to read you some of the things that I read on the back cover because they are so fun. So do you know who Elizabeth Gilbert is? She is, she's got a lot of things that she's done. She is a kind of a creativity, I don't know if I'd say guru, but somebody that helps people using creativity in their lives. She's also the author of the book Eat, Pray, Love. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just read this little bit from the back cover to you. This book has been around for a long time, and I hope it sticks around forever. It guides the reader through a fascinating and fun 12-week-long program of exercises and explorations that help loosen up one's artistic self. It takes you on a journey that will cost you nothing aside from the guidebook, and this is The Artist's Way. And it brings much insight, gently helping you see what is holding you back and showing you how to move forward. 3 times in the last decade, I've committed to doing the Artist's Way program, and each time I've learned something important and surprising about myself and my work. Just to show how influential it's been to me, the first time I did the program, I had decided by the end that I wanted to, 1, travel to Italy and learn Italian, 2, go to an ashram in India, and 3, return to Indonesia to study with the old medicine man I'd once met there. We all know what that decision led to. Without the Artist's Way, there would have been no Eat, Pray, Love. So yeah, that is the power of it. And it's not just for writers. It's for anybody. And I think when I first heard about the book, I thought it was more about just writing or about creating art as an artist, like as a professional artist. But it really is in here, and she talks about it. We'll look at it later. It's for stay-at-home moms. It's for busy executives. It's for anybody that wants to, as she was saying, discover and recover your creative self. Okay, so another one that I wanted to read is by Anne Lamott. And I don't know if you know who Anne Lamott is. Okay, my phone is making all kinds of noises here. So Anne Lamott is a writer and has written books about writing. And here's what she says. The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron is not exclusively about writing. It is about discovering and developing the artist within. Whether a painter, poet, screenwriter, or musician, but it is a lot about writing. If you have always wanted to pursue a creative dream, have always wanted to play and create with words or paints, this book will gently get you started and help you learn all kinds of paying attention techniques. And that, after all, is what being an artist is all about. It's about learning to pay attention. If you don't know about Anne Lamott, I will recommend her work as well. The last one, I'm going to read what it is, what it says first, and then say who wrote it. This is a book that addresses a delicate and complex subject. For those who will use it, it is a valuable tool to get in touch with their own creativity. And that's Martin Scorsese. Okay. All right. So that is kind of the quick intro to what the book is actually about. And so now I think I'll pause for a second and tell you what the workshop series is about. So this Creativity Unleashed that is happening this summer, what this program is basically a way to work through this book. And it's funny because there's been a few of us who have been wanting to work through it, and we tried doing it alone and we didn't really get around to it. And then we tried kind of pulling a group together, but we just didn't do it. And so that's what brought me to the idea of leading a workshop around doing it. So the start date is June 3rd and it goes through August 26th. So this is 13 Mondays, and this is a 12 module course or program. And so the cool thing is you don't have to do anything ahead of time. You just show up to the first one and we will read the introduction and read what it says to do. So some of that we'll read aloud, other of it will be on your own time. And then each week we'll do the same thing where we will read aloud. It's a 2-hour block. So we'll also do some creativity exercises like 5-minute timed writing or timed art, just to get the juices flowing. And then the other part of it is reading through the different exercises that she recommends for that coming week, as well as sharing what you learned from the exercises that you did in the previous week. And we'll be meeting on Zoom. So using the Zoom video conference, which is super easy. But also if you don't want to meet by Zoom, you can also just call in. So there's a phone number that you can join in. And the other thing that we'll do is it is a maximum of 20 people. I'm not sure how many we will have, but when we do our sharing, there's a way in Zoom to break it up into smaller groups. So if we have more than 4 people, like let's say if we have 8 people, we'll break into 2 groups of 4 when we're doing our sharing. And really she's thought of everything. There's guidelines in here for kind of the group conscience of what the principles are, so that people, when they are sharing, that they feel safe and supported. So that is the introduction to the book, The Artist Way, as well as the course. And so I think I'll go ahead and just start by reading the introduction here. And again, as I was saying, it's the 25th anniversary, so it's pretty cool. Okay, so this is the introduction to the 25th edition by Julia Cameron. I'm seated alone in a cafe, dining solo. A woman approaches my table. Pardon me, she says, has anyone ever told you you resemble Julia Cameron? Startled, I reply, I am Julia Cameron. Now it's the woman's turn to be surprised. Oh my God, she exclaims, your book changed my life. It made me a novelist. That's wonderful, I tell her, genuinely pleased. I bet you hear stories like mine all the time, the woman says. In fact, I do, but it doesn't take away the thrill. 25 years ago, I published The Artist Way, a book that I think of as a support kit for artists. Its popularity caught me by surprise. I thought I was writing a book for myself and a handful of friends. Instead, I wrote a book that spoke to millions. It had a central premise: we are all creative. And with the use of a few simple tools, we can all become more creative. Creativity, I believed, was a spiritual practice. We had only to open ourselves up to the great creator working through us. We became channels for spiritual energy to enter the world. Writing, painting, dancing, acting, no matter what form our creativity took. The great creator caused us to flourish, and so encounters like mine in the cafe became commonplace. The sentence is always the same. Your book changed my life. No, I often reply, you changed your life. You used the tools I laid out for you. I think it's important for people to own their own spiritual practice. My toolkit is simple and it invites practitioners to embrace simplicity. A recent review of my latest book noted that the tools were simple and repetitive. I think of this as a good thing. The tools do not change book to book. The same simple tools that worked in the artist's way work still a dozen books later. In my travels, I encounter practitioners who have used the tools for years. I've done morning pages for 15 years, a man recently told me. His morning pages, 3 pages of longhand morning writing, have filled journal after journal. He doesn't give them up because they work. A woman tells me of the second primary tool, artist dates, a once-a-week, festive, solo expedition, have given her a life of adventure. Used together, morning pages and artist dates do transform lives. I've given your book to my mother and my sister, a woman tells me at a book signing. It's worked for all of us. She says, now I want to sign a book for my boyfriend. I ask his name and write the simple phrase, may our words be friends. I trust that the book will work for him too. I have come to rely on the book. I trust that it is indeed life-changing. Julia, don't you get tired of hearing our stories? I am asked. The answer is no. Creativity is never tiresome. It is always an adventure, one I have been privileged to share. I was a very unhappy lawyer, a Broadway actor tells me. Then I used your tools. Now I am an actor and a happy one. I was what you called a shadow artist, a thriving director tells me. I was a producer until I used your toolkit and emerged as a director. I worked with your book 3 times and each time has led to a breakthrough. Thank you. Your tools felt natural to me, a fine arts photographer tells me. I used to create in spurts, but your tools have given me consistent productivity. Before using the artist's way, my life was very dramatic, a poet tells me. I was always waiting for inspiration to strike like lightning. Now I know that my creativity is a steady flow. I write poems regularly and without high drama. The poems I write are just as good as any I wrote before. Sentiments like these make my years of teaching worthwhile. I am delighted to have been of service. I receive heartfelt letters thanking me for my work and telling me of the changes it has wrought. Occasionally, the thank yous are more public. Novelist Patricia Cornwell thanked me in the dedication of her thriller, Trace. Musician Pete Townsend cited the artist's way in his autobiography, Who Am I? While it's thrilling to have celebrity endorsements, the book is perhaps at its best helping the lesser knowns, and the help isn't restricted to creativity issues. Julia, I was drunk in the outback. Now I'm sober and a Hollywood screenwriter, one practitioner wrote me. It's not uncommon for users of the pages to face down difficult issues such as sobriety, childhood trauma, and obesity. The pages urge honesty in facing down demons. Last fall, I taught in Sedona a class of 90 people. On the second night, a meeting was convened for all who felt the impact of the artist's way on their well-being. Person after person cited breakthroughs to clarity and health. When it was my turn to share, I told the group that their recovery gave me great pride. I was grateful for their acknowledgement, grateful too for the many and varied strides they had taken toward mental, physical, and spiritual health. Julia, I am sometimes asked, aren't you afraid you are unblocking a lot of bad art? No, I reply. The opposite seems to be the case. The unblocked art is often very fine, and I find myself thinking, how could they have not known they were an artist? and yet many people do not know until they encounter my book. Many artists have never received critical early encouragement. As a result, they may not know they are artists at all. Artists love other artists. Shadow artists are gravitating to their rightful tribe, but cannot yet claim their birthright. I urge them to step forward out of the shadows and into the sunlight of creativity. Most of the time when we are blocked in an area of our life, it is because we feel safer that way. The toolkit lends practitioners a sense of safety. As they learn to take small risks in their morning pages, they are led to larger risks. A step at a time, they emerge as artists. It has been a quarter of a century since the tools were first published. It gives me great satisfaction that the book continues to sell and sell well. It reinforces my belief that we are all creative and have a hunger for further creativity. All right. Okay. So with that, I'll stop with today's Creativity Live. And I'm happy to have introduced this amazing book to you, The Artist Way, and hope that you will join me for the rest of the month to get more updates and more looks into this book, as well as what creativity has meant in my life. And we'll also be talking about the workshop series. All right. Thanks a lot. Have a lovely day. Okay. Bye.